Welcome to everyone who has tuned in for this podcast slash conversation. This is one of the series of conversations we've planned for you guys, where we will be inviting industry experts, experts from the insurance industry, to have a chat with us and share with us their experiences, life experiences. Today, we've got Mr. Kamlesh Gupta. Uh, I've got three very crisp pointers to introduce him. He is an appointed actuary, which is a rare breed, so to speak, because there are only 26 appointed actuaries, so to speak, in the country, if you talk about the life insurance space. Second, introduction point is that he has completed his exams in under 5 years. That's something that all aspiring actuaries dream of, but he has achieved that. And the third, and I think for me the most important introduction point, is that he's what I call the first generation of actuaries of the post privatization era. So he's pre social media, pre coaching classes. So for actuaries like me, and for people who've tuned in, it would be great to hear him share his experiences. So without delaying the introduction any further, I want to introduce Mr. Kamlesh Gupta. Thank you, Kamlesh, for joining us on this bright Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Aditya,
So,
for warm welcome.
thank you. How are you? How are you doing? We are in the middle of the second wave as we speak. I hope you and your family and all your near ones are doing fine. They're safe.
Yeah, by God's grace, everything is fine, and I hope that everyone who is listening to this podcast, they are doing fine, and their family members are fine.
Yes.
Let's just hope and pray for that.
Yeah. We just hope that we get through this wave, and hopefully there are no further waves.
Yeah.
Right, Kamlesh. So let me know if my introduction was okay, or was it factually correct. Is it correct to call you the first generation of actuaries of the post privatization era of life insurance?
Yeah, I don't know how to classify people, but I'm okay with either. So I qualified in 2009 or 10. Yeah.
Right,
So
right. Right. I started my actual career in 2007, and the first place where I got to know about actual science was the internet. So for someone like me, and for people who are entering the profession in this day and age, I'm very curious to know where and how was the first time you heard about the profession, and what was it that drew you to this profession? If you can just list down two or three top things that drew you to this profession of actuarial science.
So, Aditya, and before I start, let me just
Right.
put a usual disclaimer that
Right.
all views here, my personal views, and I am participating in this webinar in my personal capacity. So, Aditya, yes, it was accidental to get to know about
Right.
actuarial science. Like so many other people, I got to know it from different people, and then I came to realize that I can probably attempt
Right.
this particular course, and I tried it. What particularly I liked about this course, I think two things. One is the mathematical content. I was particularly interested in mathematics, so
Okay.
I found if it has a good percentage of syllabus which is mathematical, I think I should be able to do it. And second thing is that role actuaries play in insurance industry. It's a very niche role,
Right.
and they play very important role in the industry. And
Right.
I found that this gives some significance to the work. So
Right.
all the works are significant. Everything people do.
Right.
But I believe actuaries can play really crucial role in insurance industry.
Right. So that was that's what drew you to the profession of actuarial science.
Absolutely. So
Right.
I believe insurance is a great idea,
Right.
and insurance brings financial security to millions of people,
Right. Right.
and actuaries plays very important role in that business.
Right. So just the aptitude for numbers and the belief that life insurance can make a big difference, a huge difference in everyone's life. Those are the two
Absolutely.
cornerstones that drew you to the profession. Fantastic. In my introduction,
Having said that,
yes,
Aditya,
yes,
I would like to clarify that
yes.
it doesn't mean that person needs to be very, very good at mathematics, or
Right.
he must have studied mathematics.
Right.
I think people from different backgrounds
Right.
are working in the industry,
Right.
and they can very much crack actuarial exams.
Right, right. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, that's a good way to choose your lifelong profession, or so to speak, to start off your career. Then you don't know where the path takes you. Fantastic. I also mentioned, I mean, it's I think common knowledge in the industry that you have cleared your exams. In under 5 years. For people who are giving their exams or people who are midway through the exams, it's always a challenge, right, to balance work and studies. How did you go about it? Were there any mantras that you stuck by? What was your routine like? I would be really interested. I'm sure the listeners would be really interested in knowing that.
Uh, so what worked for me, and I was writing actuarial exams along with my job.
Right.
What for me, I think two or three things. One is I think I was pretty regular
Okay.
in my preparation. So I believe that 100 hours preparation in 1 month and 100 hours preparation in 3 months are still very, very different.
Okay.
So it's good to spread the study time
Okay.
and study regularly.
Right.
I think second thing which helped me is to go through exam papers of previous sessions
Sure.
the last few years, and it gives you a very different understanding, very
Right.
crisp understanding of
Right.
what is expected out of that particular subject.
Right.
And third thing is, I think, making notes.
Hmm.
I used to make notes for all things which I believe are important, so that
Okay.
I can go through them again and again. And things which
Right.
are not so important, maybe I don't need to look at them so frequently.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a little uh, better way. We all have limited time, and how to
Right.
do it most effectively. So
Right.
that is what worked for me, and I believe it might be working for so many other people.
Right. So you mentioned that you were very regular with your studies. Does that also mean that you, like most of us, didn't take year-ending ka pressure as an excuse not to give exams?
Actually, yeah, it was helpful, and I was never really very tensed when I was writing exam. So I have
Right.
done that mistake earlier when I was like preparing for exam when I'm close to exam.
Right.
Uh, but in actual exams, at least I was very, very regular, and that helped me.
Right.
So journey kind of becomes smoother,
Right.
and yeah, and you understand better, you like it better, you
Right.
go into details of things, and you have time to do those things.
Right. So typically, I mean, actuarial students, the conundrum that they face is whether to study in the morning or in the evening or keep weekends for studies. Did you have any particular preference, or you spread your studies across the week?
I because I had a regular job, so
Right.
I was studying in the morning, and was giving more time over the weekends.
Right.
But I believe any time is okay. It's just that you need some time where you can focus on
Right.
that particular thing you are studying.
Right.
1 hour, 2 hour every day. If somebody can devote to actual
Hmm.
exams,
Right.
I think life becomes much easier.
Fantastic. So being regular at it is the mantra. I mean, does not, like you mentioned in your opening sentence, 100 hours in a month and 100 hours in 3 months is a big difference.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Thanks. Fantastic. Also, I mean, obviously, given that we had to have this conversation, I had to stalk you on LinkedIn. And as an opening sentence, you also mentioned that you have over a decade and a half, 16 years to be precise, of work experience spanning across different roles. One of the things that a lot of these lot of us, and a lot of the entry level actuaries faces, start kahan se kare? I mean, I'm sure you get these questions a lot. Okay, where do I start from? Be it life insurance में कौन सा team? I mean, how much of your career path was planned and how much of it was unplanned? Very curious to know that.
So entry was definitely completely unplanned.
Okay.
But I think after that, most of it was planned. I wanted to be in life insurance,
Okay.
and I wanted to clear exams as soon as possible. And I think, but I definitely looked up to senior actuaries, but
Right.
an appointed actuary is one position I
Sure.
really admired people
Sure.
who were at that position. So it was definitely a dream, and
Right.
it helped to work towards that dream.
Right. So, I mean, as you went along, I mean, I think doors kept opening, and that's how it became more of a planned move across roles.
Yeah, I think see there is definitely any success we achieve is not because of our own efforts and hard work.
Right.
It plays its own part.
Right.
But also there are peers and mentors. There are friends and family members who have
Right.
also contributed
Right.
to any success we achieve.
Right.
And same is true for me also.
Fantastic. I mean, also one of the introduction points was that you are an appointed actuary now and have been one for over a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very curious to know how has the transition been? I mean, what are the things that you had to adapt to now having occupied this position, and how has the earlier experience helped you in your current role?
Very interesting question. I think this makes me think. But definitely, I would say there are two or three things which are different. So in my earlier roles, there was much more technical thing. I used to spend much more time on
Right.
spreadsheets and models and numbers.
Right.
And working side also.
Right.
I think in appointed actuary you don't get that much time.
Right.
But whatever you have done in your earlier roles, I think that helps immensely.
Right.
You need to make a decision by understanding things very very quickly.
Right.
And if you have had worked on different positions and have worked with different, you have done all different activities, actual
Right.
activities. I think that helps.
Right.
Second thing is the view changes. It's not just actuarial view,
Right.
you need to be, and I think many of you, I think that will come as you grow in your profession. That as we grow, we need to look at the wider picture. So
Right.
I think in an appointed actuary role, one needs to be aware of not just what is happening in actuarial, but also in the company, in the industry, in the economy, in the environment, in general, right? And then all those insights which you draw
Right.
from different teams and the goings on which are happening in the economy and in the
Right.
industry.
Right.
You give right advice to the board that helps you help management make right decisions.
Right.
At the same time, you make sure that policyholders' interests are protected.
Right.
So the third thing, which is that you deal with multiple stakeholders.
Sure. Yes.
Not just a very few, but almost everybody inside the company and outside the company.
Right.
And I'm sure this is challenging, but I think this is very interesting as well. You get to see a very different picture, and you get to contribute a lot more in this position.
Right.
And I really like that fact about it.
Right. So if I have to summarize your reading of the AA's role is from a myopic view, you had to have a panorama view, because it's a very interesting point that you mentioned there was you need to know what's going on in the world, not just your company, not just your team, right? I mean, I think as you go higher and higher in the ladder, or as a senior, your view has to keep broadening. And that's what you mentioned. Being at AA now, you need to know exactly what's happening, not only probably in the country, but in the world around you.
Absolutely. See, and this is a time of globalization. We all are
Exactly.
affected by each other. Different industries affect different other industries.
Right.
And so while we need to have a wider view. At the same time, uh, your core skills are actuarial skills, right?
Yes. Yes.
So one needs to be very sure about his or her own work, right? And
Yes.
that helps
Yes.
you then work with the wider view. So both
Right.
things are important.
Right. So how has planning your day, uh, has it become more difficult, or how do you go about planning your day? Because I'm sure everyone's vying for your time, right? I think as soon as you enter your cabin, there are people knocking on the door for some sign off or the other, some consulting or the other. How do you prioritize? How do you plan your day?
So I think time management is a challenge for I think almost everybody today. And most
Right.
of you who are either who are listening to this podcast, either you are a student already working. So we all have got limited number
Right.
of hours, and planning our time um, is really important. So I spend time with my team so that they get information what they need and guidance they need, and I'm really proud of my team, the people I'm working with, and I then definitely need to spend time with other teams, and then
Right.
not just inside the company, outside the people
Sure.
there are people I need to talk to. Um, but I think it comes with practice. If you are aware about time management,
Right.
you decide what is important, what is not. You say no to certain things,
Right.
and you work.
I think that's the key, right? I mean, saying no is the most difficult thing, but is the most important thing.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Fantastic. I mean, so, and most of the people, I mean, sorry, not most, all, everyone who's listening to this, I'm sure they have their eyes set at that level, right? They all want to become appointed and chief actuaries. I'm sure the advice you've given over the last 4 5 minutes, especially for the AA's role, will stand them in good stead. I was very interested to know, because you worked for over 16 years in the industry now. You've seen a lot of, at least 3 4 generations of students come and go and climb up the ladder. What do you see as a skill set that has evolved over the years? Something that you might not have seen in students, say 5 6 years ago, but you're suddenly seeing some skills in them as soon as they enter the workforce.
Hmm. Definitely, the needs keep changing.
Right.
See, we are all part of the evolution, and we all need to keep up with the evolution which is happening around us. An actuarial profession is not away from this. Uh, what I can say is certain things at the same time, certain
Hmm.
things remain fundamentally important. They don't change with time.
Okay.
So, for example, before skills, I believe attitude comes, an attitude to learn, attitude to
Hmm.
contribute, attitude
Hmm.
to grow in
Right.
knowledge, and in I think that that remains. I think there always.
Right.
And second thing is there are certain skills. So one is technical skills, other are soft skills. So for example, communication skills or
Right.
interpersonal.
Right.
They never go out of fashion, right?
Right.
One needs to work on those skills anyway, and they are very very important for actuarial profession or many other professions.
Hmm.
In terms of technical skills, definitely, I think technology is evolving. So
Right.
to learn that the new systems and software and new skills, the
Right.
coding software, etc.
Right.
At the same time, again, fundamentally, one needs to understand the concepts. And so, three things I can tell. One is uh, have a very sound uh, basis, theoretical basis, and at the same time, uh, have application-based learning, which I think is easy given
Hmm.
our study material, which has application-based
Right.
questions and exercises. Second thing I think is I believe is important is understanding of cash flows. Uh, and if anybody, any of you who is listening to this program, if you give attention to any pricing model or reserving model, I think you will get a very good understanding of cash flows. And third thing I think is also understanding of financials
Right.
of insurance company.
Right.
I think it looks very simple: premium plus investment income minus claims minus expenses minus commission minus change in reserves.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people sometimes don't understand easily, and that's where actuaries can play a very important role. Uh,
Right.
because that particular item can explain a lot many things
The
about
business. Yeah.
the business, and people are curious to know about that.
Yeah.
So I think this kind of understanding
Yeah.
uh, can help, and it is good to start giving attention to such things from the time a person is still writing exams, and just develop the understanding further and
Right.
start contributing.
That's some fantastic advice. I mean, you obviously have to clear your exams, but that's not the end all and be all. You have to be commercially aware as well, is what I gathered from your last point. You understand the business, how the business works, and how the workings of the business. So you have to be commercially aware. And obviously, I mean, actuaries being actuaries, they have a tendency of talking in a particular language with particular terms. So like you mentioned, you have to have good communication skills. You need to probably explain what you are doing to, say, someone from marketing is, is what you meant, right? I mean, by communication skills within the community, you can probably understand each other, but outside the community, you need to.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I think I gather these things as some things that you already see in students, and something as tips to upcoming actuaries, that if these things are in place, nothing can stop them from climbing the ladder.
True. It has at least worked for me.
Exactly.
I'm sure
And
there
you,
are many other things which are working for different people.
sure.
So when I was a student,
Right.
I learned a lot of things from senior actuaries,
Right.
even the students who were ahead of me.
Right.
And when I'm sharing my experience, my whole intent is that maybe some of it would be useful to some of
Sure.
you who are
Sure.
listening to this.
Sure, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we've got a living example of someone who's been there, done that, and made it. So, I mean, hearing it from your perspective, I'm sure these are, I mean, pearls of wisdom for people who are listening to this, watching this, and want to make it, make actual science the career. Thank you, Kamlesh, for sparing time on a Sunday afternoon and having a chat with us. It was enlightening for sure, but it was also very pleasant talking to you. I mean, your views were very sharp and to the point.
Thanks, Aditya. I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
I think this is important.
Sure.
That in actual exams, sometimes people don't pass exams, and this is normal. We do get disappointed, but I think this is part of this life journey, very valuable. So sometimes if somebody is not able to pass some exam, that is part of this journey, and I think we
Right.
should accept it. We should learn from it. We should make ourselves better and keep trying.
So,
This is what it's not just exam of actuarial knowledge or skills. It's also exam of our own persistence, our own uh, character, and that's what would be helpful in life anyway. So that's what I say. Passing actuarial exams is not just passing
right.
actuarial exams. It's also passing so many other things, uh,
Right.
and that is very valuable. So thank you again for giving me this opportunity to connect with so many
Thank you.
actuarial students. I hope it would be useful to some people.
Sure. Sure.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Kamlesh. All right. That was Mr. Kamlesh Gupta chatting with us about his journey, his learnings, his findings. And yes, that was it from us. Um, Before we go, wanted to add that advanced skills is a venture aimed to upskill student actuaries to make them job ready, so that when they enter the workforce, they are above the others. Advanced skills is again, like I mentioned, a venture. They've got a website of their own. They have training programs designed to upskill actuarial students at entry level and at some senior levels. They are coming up with their boot camp program, and they are giving a 40% discount, which is available for a very limited period. So please have a look. Look up for advanced skills, spelled as EDVANCE skill. They are you can get in touch with them on LinkedIn, and they have a website as well. So please do have a look at what they have to offer young students, and look out for their boot camp training program. Thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye and take care.